We are back for another year of In the Huddle with Gmac, season number 2. Last year we focused on Saugerties Sawyers mostly, alumni, where the program was, where the program is. We finished up with Nick Bernard, head coach of the team. We discussed how things are going to move forward. And then this year to start off, we have head coach Nick Bernard and senior captain Andrew Mulford. Welcome, guys.
What's up, man? How we doing?
Good. We're doing awesome. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
How's camp going?
It's good.
Yeah?
Had some nice weather so far, not too hot.
Yeah, it actually hasn't been too bad.
They got lucky. I've been telling them that every morning. We've had a couple days where it's gotten sticky, like a little humid, like in the second half of practice, but the morning's been really good.
Coming out of that thunderstorm the other day had to be a little brutal. It was muggy that day. What was it, like a couple days ago?
Yes, 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal that day. How do you prepare for that if you don't have heat and then all of a sudden where you get a heat? I mean, Saturday's game looks like it's going to be pretty reasonable.
It's supposed to be 80.
Yeah.
The following week, first day of school, it's supposed to be in the 90s. So, I mean, we're just going to have to hit it and run because when school starts, I mean, starting Tuesday, we'll transition to our afternoon practices because I'll be working on Tuesday and then they'll all be back on Wednesday. So we'll be practicing the heat of the day. Kind of hit it on that.
Well, we play 1 o'clock on Saturday, so that's that's kind of tough. So as far as the season's going, right? Last year we didn't have the result in town that you wanted, right? But you understood that it was an undertaking. Things are changing, and to change your program, you got to go through some growing pains.
Sure.
So now we're in. We got a full camp in. How's everything looking?
I think we had a pretty solid camp. I mean, knock on wood, we came out of camp healthy, which is the first thing. All right. So depth is always going to be an issue, So we're thin at some spots, some bumps, bruises, some normal stuff in camp, nothing big. So that's whenever you have a camp, you always want to come out healthy. So we've been able to come out healthy, which is pretty good. And a lot of new guys together. We had a lot of 10th graders come up. So we've had a little bit of a mix of guys. They're starting to really feel each other out, starting to come together as a team. But overall, I think it's been a pretty solid camp. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we've had pretty good attendance, like all throughout. Just a couple misses here and there. Young guys stepping up, filling positions when they need to.
Now, is it a balance? Would you say? Do you think it's like senior laden, or is it pretty evenly?
It's pretty
matched
even
across
I think
all
we
three
have
grades?
we're at like 8 seniors now, 9 seniors.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're pretty spread out across. I was just actually looking at it because I was comparing our roster to Marlboro's. We have we're pretty even across the board. Not super senior heavy, but there's position wise, our boys up front are mostly seniors,
Right.
which is what you want.
Yeah.
So hopefully, give some of those young guys a chance. And some of those young guys are thrown right into the fire.
Yeah.
Some of those young guys coming up. But across the board, our roster, grade-wise, is not bad.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So you lead off this weekend, Marlboro. Do you match up pretty decently, you'd imagine?
We played them last year. They beat us 14-6, close game. We competed. The Mayo was a good game that we really were happy to compete. I think we honestly let that one get away from us a little bit. That was one we thought we could have come up with. So week 0 came up. We had some opportunities. Like we said, I was trying to get that game in Kentucky Athens. We couldn't get that together. And so I approached Dom Zarello as the AD, and we didn't have Marlboro on our schedule. They didn't have one. So I reached out and see if Marlboro wants to come up and play us. They said they would.
That's awesome. It's a home game, too.
Yeah, it's cool. They have some good players coming back. I feel like we have some good players coming back. So, again, it's week 0, so we are guessing what they're going to run on offense, guess what they're running on defense. They're doing the same. Right. So we're watching last year's tape, last year's film. And that's what I'm saying. We're putting our game plan all week and said, listen, they come out and run none of this, and we're going to have to adjust. You know what I mean? So I have a bunch of things in right now, but they could all go by the wayside.
It could be on the fly, just 100%. Figure it out.
So whatever team makes better adjustments, I think, is going to come out on top on Saturday.
Yeah. So you're a captain this year.
Yeah.
Now, What year did you finally start playing football? Seventh grade?
Seventh grade. Yeah.
All right, because we talked about this. I had you when you were in flag as a little guy, like 7 years old. Now, have you always been a lineman, or where did you start when you first started playing? Where were you?
I first started on O-line.
O-line.
7th grade, and then 8th grade I moved to tight end. Then 9th grade, COVID canceled the whole season.
Right.
10th grade, I had a good off season, and then they brought me up to varsity and they put me at left tackle. I've been there since.
What's your favorite?
A little bit with it. Tight end last year.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of being a lineman? Now you got a coach that was a lineman right next to you, so.
Yeah, I like being able to have a one-on-one battle mostly throughout the game. Get to see how you stack up against other players and dominate them.
Yeah, that's it. Like there's an old saying. I think it was Russ Grimm or somebody from the Redskins. He goes, "Being a lineman, the best part of it is when you can willingly move a man against his will." At any point in time, you can push that guy around and he can do nothing about it. So, what's a successful season going to look like to you this year?
Just improvement. The past couple seasons have not been good, so improving skill-wise, record-wise, bonding-wise.
And do you feel like that's happening this season? Yeah. So, right. So, improving, what success can be ranked different ways, right? It can be in a record, but it can be, in not having people quit. It can be in a ton of different ways. Mm-hmm. So, ultimately, where would you like to see you guys at the end of the season? Like, what's an ideal? I mean, ideal is like you're winning the section championship, but where's like a good standard goal to set for like this year's team?
I'd like to be 500 at least. 500.
Listen, from where we've been, 500 is a big improvement, right? Yeah. And you feel like you have the players around that can help get you to that?
I believe so, yeah.
And what's it feel like when you get, voted captain by your peers?
It feels really good to know that they have faith in me to lead them and make good decisions for them and talk to coaches for them.
You take that seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah. you get like, do you, you're such a nice kid. I never see the side of you. Do you like get out there and yell and get them in gear?
I'm not a big yeller now.
No? You're a lead by example guy?
I've heard him talk before.
Yeah. We got to make him talk as much as,
Yes.
Yeah. So how about you, Nick? I mean, obviously, right? We're turning your current program around here. Where do you measure success?
It's progress, right? Progress. We knew when we were rough last year. We knew that one win. We want to build on that. Off season wise, weight room attendance wasn't where I wanted to be. It needs to be better. So took a little step back from where I wanted to be. Being at practice camp, the attendance has been great. The enthusiasm has been great. The work ethic has been great. They're in. These guys are working hard. We ran some pretty tough practices. They went through, so we're seeing progress there. Accountability, I think we're starting to see more of that too. Guys are making mistakes. Coaches are getting on them. They're not, throwing their hands up, walking off. They're allowing themselves to be coached. Now we have to see the progress in the field.
Right.
Multiple wins. 500 sounds like a good record to me. Qualifying for a sectional playoff game, I think would be serious progress. That would mean we're winning multiple games. But I think with this group, things come together. We stay healthy. I don't see why that can't happen.
Yeah, I mean, health is in any
100%.
In football, health is the number one thing. So if you can stay healthy, that helps a lot. Does having now you guys have Nate full time or no?
Yes.
So that probably helps you stay healthy on the field.
Yeah, Nate does a great job. Some of these guys mob him when he comes out of practice. I'm like, come on, man. They're always looking for Nate. Some guys are always looking for Nate. He does a good job. Takes care of our guys. treats them. And we have a good relationship where we talk. Honestly to each other.
Yeah.
We have a good rapport.
So just fill us in a little bit. Like how's the team looking? Where's your strengths? Where are you building on? What, like after last year, what do you build on?
Last year, I think we saw offensively a little bit of emergence of a passing game with Damon Weishaupt at quarterback. I think that started to flash towards the end of the year. Last couple games, a really good game against Goshen. Just building on that. Offensively, our offensive line should be okay. He's pretty good left tackle here. I think throwing another tackle out there, Miles Coons had a great offseason. Weight room attendance was almost perfect. He's really putting in the work. So offensive line, being able to run the ball effectively. Because last year we tried that power run and it was getting stuffed. We spread it out, had some success. I think we should be able to do a little bit of both this year. Keep defenses on their heels. Trying to build on that. Defensively, I think we got to be more consistent with our tackling. That's what it comes down to. And setting the edge better. I think teams got outside us a lot last year.
Yep.
So hoping that the work we put in, some of the things we've done, we've been better in practice, but you never know how it's going to be until you hit the game.
Right. And how's team speed? Because, closing distance, if you can swarm to the ball, you should be.
We got some guys that can move, and I think some of it has to come with recognition, trying to teach these guys keys so they're not just guessing out there, reading their keys, flowing to the football. That's what you want. We got some pretty fast guys. Yeah. Not as many as I want. There's always, more speed.
You always want people that can fly.
Yes. We have a few, but, I think we should be able to, run with some teams.
Now, we recently obtained the end zone camera, correct?
Yeah.
So how will that change how you coach and how you prepare?
That just changed everything. I got to give a shout out to the Sousa family, Nelson Sousa and Karen Sousa, coming up with a big donation. Let us get that. We've been talking about getting one of these for years.
Yeah.
Years.
Long time.
We're one of the last teams in Section 9 to have one. What that does is, and I'll give, the school district a lot of credit. They stepped up. They bought that huddle sideline package for us to use. Yeah. So what that's going to do, it just gives you such a better view. I'm watching our tape from Marlboro last year, and it's from the 50-yard line sideways. I'm like, is that a tight end on that side? Is that tackle? I can't tell. When you get the end zone cam, it gives you that all 22, and it just shows everything. And then when you add huddle sideline into it, we'll have an iPad in real time being like, I can, offense comes off the field, Coach Carpino, the offense coordinator, gets to look at the quarterback and say, look, this is where they're lining up. This is where we want to attack. The adjustments. Teams have been doing this for years. It's very frustrating. So to feel like we're kind of on an even keel, even level with them, I think that's going to pay dividends on the road.
Yeah, well, right. You're still playing from behind, but you're just starting to get the technology that everybody's understanding. So it's going to be a work in progress, I'd imagine. The
camera was supposed to be here today. It's getting delivered tomorrow. So as soon as we can get that thing out of the box.
And then when's the huddle guy coming?
That just got cleared today. That's shipped. They're shipping it today. So
you don't need them to come hook it up or anything?
They get the stuff, and then he's going to call me and set it up.
Okay.
So
probably not this week.
It won't be for Marlboro. We'll have it all full go for. We're going to tape the game in at Marlboro with the all 22.
Yeah.
So we'll have it to look at afterwards, but we won't be able to use it in game.
Right. You won't nothing live.
Yeah.
But that will give you a change because when you watch football, you watch it conventionally, like sideline to side. But that's good for TV. But to learn, you're like, where'd this guy come from? Exactly. And you don't know unless you get the all 22.
It's spacing and all that stuff, and where they're lining up, how they're for me as a defensive coach, what their formations are, the angles they're doing, where my guys are going, where they should be. It's hard to tell from the sideline.
Are they hitting their keys the right way? Who they're reading? Correct.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Now, do you find? I know you're a lineman, but do you read keys? Not as an offensive lineman, but if you get in on defense.
Yeah, like just reading their offensive lineman steps, whether they're going back or forward.
Now, do you think that's an advantage if you play both sides because as an offensive lineman how you read? Yeah.
Because if they go back, it's a pass coming at you.
Right.
Coming at you.
So now, do you play defense a lot?
Not as much as I do offense, but I'm going to.
But as a senior, you're twisting coach's arm and saying, "I want some more reps."
Yeah. Been working harder on the defensive side in practice.
Yeah, he doesn't speak.
He just shows it what his
reps speak for himself, right? He doesn't have to say it. His play is saying, the reality of being a Class B football team, some guys are going to play both ways.
Right.
So you just have to. Unfortunately, for some people, he's showed camp, man. He's in pretty good shape, so I think he can handle the load a little bit. Now we don't want to keep guys out there every play, but yeah.
Now, does the new breakdown of not having a JV, as much as it can, I know where there's both sides of this, right? It can hurt and it can help. It's got to help our numbers at least to a degree.
In an ideal world, I would like to go back to having a modified JV and varsity.
Right.
I would. If the numbers could support it. Now, this current 9th grade group we don't have a lot of numbers in there. So I don't know if that's ever going to be able to have a JV team with that.
Yeah.
Because the Mod A numbers signups right now are very low for 9th graders. I think I have 22 7th graders signed up. Mm-hmm. That's a big number. So that's what we want.
And how about 8th?
8th grade is, I think, 14, 15. So,
right. So
okay.
You're okay, yeah.
Yeah. 21's a good number you want per class, if you can get that going forward.
Yeah.
And then I also had to find another coach. Football coaches are hard to find.
Yeah.
Everyone, we were talking about pre-show, everyone knows how to coach football.
Yeah.
But very few people actually can step up and do it for the school. Ideally, I would like to gain back to that. Now, you said there's plus and minuses. Positive is my modified A team plays the same schedule we do. So they're going to play Marlboro, they're going to play Red Hook, they're going to play New Paltz.
Right.
If I go to a JV team, my JV team will play
Valley Central,
Menacing, Cornwall, the bigger schools, which isn't the end of the world. But if you're worried about numbers, things like that, that could become a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we would always see. You'd start out with 30 on each level, and by the end of the year, you'd be down around 22, and you're scraping by. And then, if in this world, if you have 10th, 11th, 12th, if you have a lot of underclassmen, it can hurt. But if the underclassmen are prepared, then it's one of those balancing acts.
100%.
There's probably going to be some years you got an up year because you got underclassmen that can perform, and there's going to be some years you're like,
yes.
Underclassmen don't see the field much because
I know it's tough for 10th graders to come up with varsity. There's some kids who probably didn't, who would have played football if they were on JV and they were ready for the jump to varsity. And I get that. It's hard.
Right.
It's not for everybody.
Right. And a lot of those kids, I don't know if we talked about this last year, the same kids, it helps by having Mod 9 and staying that 9th grade year. It hurts when they got to go to varsity as a 10th grade year because they're making the jump.
Yeah, those guys haven't played special teams really yet. They haven't played a full game.
Right.
So I'm trying to explain to these guys, these 10th graders, because we have some 10th graders who are going to play. And, it's different, guys.
You've only played a half a game.
You don't have a whole quarter to sit down and catch your breath.
Right.
This is going to go.
Yeah. You keep brackets.
So we'll find out on a Saturday or something.
Yeah. So what's your goals heading into Saturday? What's your goals? No sacks allowed, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And then tell coach, hey, run behind me.
Yeah, I like where they run behind me.
Yeah.
That's a nice place to run.
What do you have any plans? I know you're a baseball player too. You play basketball?
I do, yeah.
Now, do you have any preference of sport? Like if you were going to go to college and play, what sport would you pick?
It'd be football.
Football, really?
Yeah.
Have you any schools on the map at all at this point?
A couple, yeah.
And what are you doing to prepare for that? You getting in the weight room pretty heavy?
I've been going to the weight room more, yeah. I've gone to a couple of their camps and seen what it's like at their practices.
Yeah, and how's that?
It's pretty good. You see what they're change and
it's a big jump.
Yeah.
I brought a player one time to one of them blue chip camps down in Marist, and when you see guys come in and they're benching 225 for like 30 reps, and you're like, we're not in Ulster County football here anymore. How tall are you right now?
I'm 6'2".
6'2", and what do you go weight wise?
250.
Oh, that's a big boy.
Yeah.
And if you grow a little bit more, right now
250. I thought you'd be heavier than that.
It's 250 solid muscle, coach.
Yeah.
So what's the plan? Like, do they have when coaches talk to you? Is it offensive line, defensive line? Do they have like a plan?
Offensive line, yeah. They ask what positions you prefer. Tell them.
Yeah. Depending on the size of the school, you'd be small for a tackle, But what makes you love football so much?
I don't know. It's just the fast pace of it. Like, I used to be a baseball guy, but it slowed down for me. And basketball, it's never really been like my top thing. So football is just fast paced and it's different than everything else.
When I was a young guy, I always loved baseball. But then as I got older, I'm like football. In football, you can win from defense.
Mm-hmm.
You can always be part of a play. Where baseball, you go out in right field and not have a ball hit to you for a week.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about football, and it's if you can play at another level, I would suggest playing because once this is gone, it's gone. You can't go play men's football. You know what I mean? It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Cherish every minute of it because it's your senior year. What would it mean to win a Mum Bowl on your senior year?
It'd be great. I've been playing varsity. It's my third year at varsity. Haven't won one yet. And
who do we play?
FDR.
At home.
Yeah,
of course, at home. But what is it? October
7th, I believe. I'm not 100% on that. It's right around there.
And FDR, we finished a year out there last year, and
got thumped up.
We got thumped up a little bit, so you kind of owe them one, right?
Yeah.
And it's fun going on a dance with a win. You know what I mean? So, what else? What else do you looking for out of the season? What are you looking for out of your co-captains, and what are you expecting?
Looking for good leadership, build relationships with other young guys, show them how to lead for when they're the seniors on the team. Leave it better than we.
Then you found it, yeah. So Nick, you got Marlboro. Now that's not a league game, right? That's a non-league game.
Well, it says that, but it is. It counts towards Class B.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Are they just a different division of Class B?
Yes, they're in the lower.
So they're in the
lower part. Yep.
So how's it breaking down then this year? It's double A.
The top two from each side. So there's Division 1 and Division 2 for Class B.
Okay.
So Division 1, it's us, New Paltz, Port, Liberty, and
Beacon.
Beacon, yes, thank you.
Okay, and then the lower one.
Yeah, then the lower one, it's Red Hook, Marlboro, Dover, Spackenkill. One Highland has gone up, I think, but Highland's down again. They've changed a lot. Like they just did a whole reclassification. Now it's AAA, so that did affect us a little bit. A couple teams came in to be Rondout dropped out, going 8-man.
Right.
But then Spackenkill came back in from 8-man. So basically, the top two from each side are going to make the section.
All right. Yeah. So, and you don't necessarily play the other side, the lower B.
We play some of them,
but not. It won't matter. So it's
for
really
football,
division games
sure.
extremely matter. Which
New Paltz
next week is a division game, week 2,
yeah.
and then you go to Red Hook now. That's not a division game. It's a Class B game, but it's not a division.
I think they're in a lower division. I'm not 100% on that.
Okay,
but yeah.
And is there a reason why that game's a Thursday?
Jewish holiday.
Okay, I thought that's what it was. Like the whole, it seems like all of Section 9 is
playing
Thursday afternoon at like 3 o'clock.
3:30. Yeah, 3:30 start at Red Hook week 3.
Yeah, that's an odd one.
Yes.
So, what does Beacon bring to the division? From I know nothing of Beacon.
They're a Dutch County team. They've been on. I think they went 0-9 last year. A bunch of forfeits towards the end of the year. Kind of fell apart. I didn't know too much about their JV team or if that Amade team or Amade team didn't play them. I haven't played them. I've watched some of their games. I watched a couple of their games last year.
Yeah.
They had a rough season, but I'm not sure what they have come back. They're a Dutchess County team. They were a Section 1 team.
Yeah, which is tough.
Section 1's very, very tough.
Yeah.
So they came into us with Lords.
Yep.
So they have some Section 1 experience, which you can never look past.
Yeah, so and look what Lords did. They came in unseeded cornball.
Yeah.
That Section 1's tough, and they play them Section 1 teams. So you have your a lot of players that were juniors and sophomores last year returned.
Yep.
And then which is your core pretty much, and a lot of those kids started on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, we were able to build some depth up last year.
And now, what is the sophomore class brought?
They brought some athletes. I really think some athleticism. I've seen some toughness too. That's been a pretty successful group at the modified A level. They were very successful the last couple of years. I coached that group and they were 8th graders. We had a pretty strong team that year. They had a pretty strong team last year. So they brought some athleticism done. Like I said, some of those guys are going to take some key spots and they're throwing right into the fire on Saturday.
Yeah. What does it mean to get a kicker in there?
Mason's been good. I mean, although he did hit Bondar in the head today with the ball. I was like, come on, man, we got a kicker, so nobody, he hit one of his linemen. So that shouldn't happen, But he's been really good. I think he's enjoyed it too. Very, very strong leg. It's been fun. It's been fun to mess around with him.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like we just threw it out there. Like, hey, we got to go. And last year when you were on the show, everybody's like, why is people are texting Mason. These guys are talking about you on this show right now, and I've been recruiting him forever. But then to see that, like he's actually out there and kicking.
Yeah, it was cool. I know I'm good friends with the soccer coach, Mike Riley at high school.
Yep.
We teach next door, and I remember I said, hey, I heard Mason guy. He's like, strong leg. I was like, how would you feel? He's like, oh. And then Mason was in his room talking about soccer. And I said, hey, introduced myself. And we couldn't really put it together. We never were able to get together and do it. And then he came to a practice. It was the first time he'd ever kicked football, he said. And he was drilling like 40 yarders into the wind.
Yeah.
I was like, huh.
You're like,
It's
and that's
good.
it. he's such a young guy.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
he's a young 10th grader too. He doesn't even turn 15 to like October or something.
Yeah.
So like he's got time to grow. But what that does, right, as a team, when you're at the 20-yard line and it's 4th down, you don't have to go for it. You know what I mean? You have an option now to put at least some points on the board.
100%. We talked about it. I talked about it with Drew about how many drives of ours died inside the 20.
Right.
Now if we can get 3 points, it's just
right. You come away with just a little bit
some
more
momentum and just, what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't feel like we got to do it all in one shot.
Has there been any changes to the coaching staff at all this season?
Yeah, so we brought up, Dom Zarella was coaching with us. He retired, put in his years of service. He's enjoying his retirement. Spoke to him the other day. Frankie Wright was one of our coaches last year. He got another job, so he is not unable to coach. So Drew and myself came back, and we were able to bring Justin McDougal up from he coached Mod A last year. His son Landon came up. He's running our special teams. I think he's done a very good job so far. Our special teams really seem to be on it. Last year, special teams was a little bit of a crapshoot, to be honest with you. This year, I think special teams should be able to make some plays. Nice kick return today in practice. So it's been great having him. He's a solid coach. I've known him for the last couple of years. And then the fourth coach we were able to hire was Lou Denise.
And Lou Denise was a head coach, what, 8 years ago? Yeah.
9 years ago.
Was it that long ago already?
9 years ago. It's the year my daughter was born. She just turned 9 August 27th.
And I was thinking about that team not that long ago. They had a lot of turmoil in the senior class, but they had a lot of young athletes that went on to be that 8-0 team that ran against Cornwall.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking to Lou about this tonight. Actually, I saw him at my daughter at flag, and his team was getting ready for flag practice. We were talking about that. Yeah, sure. Trying to develop those young guys. That was like you had your Jimmy Ball was on that team. Yep. Zolletto was on that team. Those guys became
Nick Dennis, all them guys. Yeah, they were
became really good players for us. So it's been great to have Lou back. He's just a good guy. He's positive. Yeah. He knows football. I think he's bonded well with the guys. JP Vermillion is one of our Mod A coaches. He's been to a lot of our summer practices, so he's been around. So it's been great having those guys, having kind of all hands on deck. It's nice to have high-quality coaches that are able to do things.
Yeah. So, would you say this is like the first full year of the rebuild? Like you kind of came in last year.
I'm not going to not own last year. Last year I was a coach. That was my team. I think we're in a better spot this year. Last year was harder, on the coaches, on the players too. They were coming off a really rough year. Where they didn't even field the team some games. They had to forfeit a bunch. It was just a really bad environment. I wasn't a coach on that team. I was coaching lower levels, but we saw that. I was on the sideline for their games. Actually, for most of them, I was up top, but I would come down the sidelines in the second half because games were usually over.
Yeah.
It was tough, man. It was tough on the coaches. I know everyone, loves blaming coaches for stuff. Coaches take the losses just as hard, if not harder, than the players. And we're always harder on ourselves.
Yep.
So that was tough to see. And last year, we got kind of more of that. It seemed like every time last year, the worst possible scenario would happen.
Could happen, did. Right?
And it became almost so much that our guys were expecting it. And that's what we're trying to talk about this year in camp. Positive mindset.
Right.
Marlboro could return the opening kick for a touchdown.
So what?
Get over it. Move on.
Right.
Fight back. And that's kind of the mindset we're going. We're challenging these guys with different things. They've responded well. I think we're in a better spot. We're going to find out more on Saturday.
So it sounds like the program's coming together, right? Obviously you weren't happy with maybe the turnout in the weight room.
Yes.
But you come back, you're dedicated. They're showing heart. You guys are practicing hard. Yeah. Now you got the coaching staff situated. Now you have new uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Like what Dion would always say, listen, you look good, you feel good, you play good, right?
Yeah.
So, you start there, you got new uniforms, the booster club's kicking in.
Sure.
You have you have the camera, the all 22 now.
Yep.
So now it's starting to feel like a true program again.
Sure.
Like instead of pieces, like every year was a new piece. Now it seems like it's a program. You have a system.
Mm-hmm.
People are coming through a system to add to everything.
Sure.
Like this is the first time I've seen it where you watch. Now I'm a parent, but I've watched a group of kids play for a few years down in the mods, and now they're coming up and they're going right into a system in those spots. They kind of know where they are. I mean, you get the once in a blue moon Boldy, who we thought for sure Bubba was going to be big boy, and he's not. He leaned right out, but
Yes.
you get those. But it seems like everybody's starting to come up and go, okay, yep, and it's kind of plug and play, and things are working.
That's what you want. And I think some guys are starting to be more comfortable. I mean, we threw a bunch of stuff at them. I mean, because we run similar concepts on Mod A to varsity, but the speed is so much more.
Yeah.
And the
Size.
intensity, the checks, the size too, but just the, what they're going to run, how fast they're going to run it, the adjustments I need them to make. I'm not going to be out there in the field holding your hand the whole time.
Right.
You guys got to take ownership, make the call. But I think, they responded well. We thrown them into the fire, a bunch of them. And a lot of the guys who aren't starting on offense or defense, they're finding their homes on special teams.
And are you finding you have a good rotation kind of set up? Like, hey,
we're starting to in certain spots. There's some spots where we're a little thin, but that's always going to be the case. I think I like our D-line rotation right now. I think I can keep these guys fresh a little bit. We have some young guys playing. We have a first-year senior playing, who I think is going to give us some stuff there. So I kind of like that a little bit, but we'll find out when we start playing.
Right. Once the bullets are live, we'll see.
Right? We tried to simulate, like even today we were just doing, finishing practice. We're going on air, just running through plays fast. And the play before, I'm like, all right, you're gonna get hurt this play. I want you to lay down and crawl off the field.
Right.
And he does that, and some crap. He goes, hey, this guy drops, like, you're in. Be ready to be engaged on the sideline because guys go down. It's quick.
Right. It's immediate. Go. Right.
Yeah, you got to go. So it's not as slow as modified. Trying to get those guys used to it. Trying to simulate that today. Yeah. Getting guys in and out. I think we did pretty well for the most part.
Now, how we've talked a lot about defense and tackling. How's your linebacker core?
I think there's some potential there. I'm hard on those guys. They're watching. As probably watching right now, I'm sure. There's a lot of good. I just needed to be more consistent. I got on a little bit today. We're doing like our pass drops, getting used to pass drop and finding your landmarks and seeing where you're going. A lot of potential there. I love the energy. There's a lot of leadership there. We're relatively young at the linebacker. I got 2 juniors and a bunch of sophomores. I don't know if any seniors are really going to get in the linebacker, to be honest. Yeah. So it's a young group, but I think it's a group that's eventually going to become a strength of our team.
Do you find yourself training them a certain way to watch tape to pick up on keys?
That's where I want to get to that spot. I've been talking about keys a lot. You talk about it, but you need to see it.
Right.
They're not doing it yet. And as a coach, it gets frustrating, because I've been doing this for so long. Like we're doing 7-on-7s and I'm standing back, I'm just watching. And I see the quarterback's eyes drop. I see the receiver, and I'm screaming. I'm always screaming at physical ed. I'm always screaming, Will, because he just doesn't see it coming. He's just got to see it. I'm like, he's got to see that guy start to turn and just naturally flow to that side.
It's a vision thing.
Yes, it's just learning. Where they're so hard. Like everyone wants to snap and just stare at the quarterback.
Right.
You want to watch the quarterback, see where it's going. Now, for him as a lineman, he was talking about it before. The guy across from me, he down blocks. I'm unblocked. I'm looking trap either way. I got to step up and squeeze. We're just working on that today. Working on those keys instead of just reacting to everything.
Right.
Having a plan. So I'm trying to tell these guys, you get on huddle, you watch the film, it gives you the answers to the test. So when you're taking the test, you know what's coming. And when we've had teams in the past that you just see it, and it's that moment where they come off the field like, I saw him do this, I knew it was coming, I made the play. The excitement they get.
Right.
Once we start hitting that, I think we'll really see that start to come together.
Now, when you watch tape, are you starting to notice these things?
Yeah, especially for me at the line. Like I'm watching always the DNs, what their go-to move is, see how many times they do it.
Now, I mean, you don't want to give away any of your cards here, obviously, but do you guys have audibles where somebody's coming or not coming, like your line pickups?
Sure, definitely. Now, here's the thing: we're also going off last year's tape, so
right.
There's only so much we can game plan for Saturday.
Right. I mean, halfway through the year, you're going to go, okay, yeah, we got 4 games on this.
No, 100%. Even after week 0, we'll have New Paltz. New Paltz is playing Walk Hill.
Right.
We'll get to see what they're running.
Right. You at least see what their offense is, whatever.
Marlboro and us, we're all week 0. Most of them are going in blind.
Right. Yeah, so this week it's all fly by the seat of your pants.
And
You're
adjust.
kind of going off of whatever.
Whoever adjusts
got
better
it.
is going to do.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So I'm trying to tell these guys, look, we have this plan. Could all go out the window after they come out and
Right.
power eye all of a sudden, and we don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think they're going to do that.
But they could.
They could, 100%.
And then we got to adjust on the fly. Here we
100%.
go.
And that's what it comes down to.
How much now you've coached for a number of years from
Mhm.
O-line, D-line, defense coordinator. How much adjustment did it take for you, like managing the clock, these things? Like, because when you're the head coach, it takes on your personality.
Mhm.
If you're panicking, they're panicking. If you're calm, they're calm. So how much of that do you feel like you've overcome in the last year and you're more comfortable this year?
I think I've adjusted the speed pretty well. I feel even when I was an assistant or I was a head JV coach, got a good feel for it. It's hard. It moves very fast. I would like to get to the point where I'm not necessarily the defensive coordinator. I would like one of my coaches to be able to step up and take that and let me kind of oversee and manage a little bit more. But we're just not there as a program yet, which is okay. I do enjoy coaching defense, but there's a lot, sure. And my assistants help me out a good deal with that. Mike Puglisi, one of our Mod A coaches, he's on the side. He's always talking to me about the clock very much.
It makes sense.
Yes.
He'd be like,
Yes, so it's good. It's good to have that. And it's a lot to manage. It's a lot to manage. And sure, I try to stay calm. I'm not always calm. I'm not panicked, but I do get pretty intense. I do start yelling like all the guys, busting on me about that. Because I can tell, my hands start going like this a little bit. They get on me. And so I do want to keep it intense because I do feel like sometimes we're flat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would like to see the intensity come more from these guys raising each other up instead of the coaches doing it.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're looking to go as a team. That's something we've been talking about throughout camp. Hopefully we start to see that.
Yeah, I've always been a firm believer if the players lead, you have a good team.
Yes, 100%.
If the coach has to lead, you're going to have a rough one.
Yes, 100%.
So coming in Saturday, you're coming in home opener, week 0. What's the intensity like? Here we are, right? It's Thursday night. We're 2 days away. How's the week progressed for you guys?
It's got to start tomorrow with pregame. Everyone's got to have their everything mental right, know what they're doing on the plays, and then got to transfer to game day, ready to go as soon as kickoff starts.
And then,
are you excited?
I am, yeah.
Pumped up. That's what I was going to say. Like, when does it hit you when you guys are come marching down out of the back line there?
As soon as you come out the alley, see everyone out in the stands, good music going.
Yeah. We got the tailgate starting at 9:00, so we're hoping we get a big crowd to open up. You wearing blues? The blues at home this week?
The Columbia blue jersey with the we have to wear older pants or pants haven't come in yet.
Yeah.
October.
I'm sure the Navy will look good with it though.
They do. I saw a couple of guys put it on. Look fine.
What's the outcome you're I mean, obviously a win.
Yeah.
What's a good day for Saugerties on Saturday besides a win? What's a good day?
We look good on both sides of the ball, even if it doesn't come out with the win. Put together good drives, good stops. Everything works out well.
Do you think that if the offense sustained drives are a key to keeping your players rested on offense?
In some ways, because they're going to be playing both. I think we can sustain drives. I think there's big play potential too. I do.
Right. It's just one of those things. Like when you got both ways, if you're doing shootouts, at some point, it's You
were talking about years past. I was defense coordinator that year that Dom ran his power eye. Being defense coordinator was great.
Right.
I just controlled the time of possession, and
right.
That was great. For this year, I mean. Offense, we do something you talked about, kicker. I'm hoping kickoff team.
Right.
The average starting field position against us last year was the 41-yard line.
That's
really hard.
Terrible, really, to be honest.
As Mason goes, we can cut that back to 25, 30. That'd be great. I tell him, as he grows into it, if the ball touches the end zone,
it's
touchback.
It's touchback.
Start at 20. That's a huge advantage. So, things like that. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, last year they never decided. I would have just went for onside kick every time. If you're going to start to 41 anyway, you might as well try and get it.
Yes, we did that a few times, but then you just didn't kick it there either.
So when we're you got this program going and the booster club's helping and the Sousa family's helping. What's next? What helps get this program to the next level?
Weight room.
Weight room?
Off-season weight room. 110%. Coach Carpino does a great job. He's in there. I'm in there. We are giving these kids the opportunity, and not just to be good at football. It's going to translate to baseball. It's going to translate to basketball. Straight up lacrosse. Off-season weight room, hands down, got to happen.
Now, you and I talked about this last year on the thing. Do you think that athletes should be going to the weight room for their gym class instead of gym?
That's something the district's going to talk about. I know I've talked to phys ed teachers. They're on board with that. Some of them would like that. I just don't know. There's a lot of pieces in play for that for a school to implement. Some schools do. I know Goshen does that. I know because their AD was their football coach, and he was a phys ed teacher, and he would run the weight room for athletes. So other schools have done that. I think it would help overall. But that's the decision. That's not.
No, I understand. I just think you're playing a sport, so you're meeting that requirement. But if you want your athletics to get better, every team should be in the weight room. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you have gym and you're an athlete, you should be in the weight room. You get your lift in on your gym time.
Sure. Some schools do that. We'll see if that happens in the future.
Yeah. So besides weight room, is there any other things like that you're looking at that would help push us over the top?
It's got to start the weight room in all season, to be honest. I feel like we didn't get the results we wanted. We went to 1 7-on-7. We went to a lineman challenge. We had a couple guys miss. We did okay. 7-on-7 didn't go well. We put in a lot of work for that. I was really happy with the reps and the attendance we have. That was really good. So anything off season like that is important. You can't just expect to roll in August 21st and start playing football. It's just not the reality.
Do you think some of that 7-on-7 stuff is some of those teams run 7-on-7s? Because there's a big difference, right?
Sure.
7-on-7, it seems like some of those teams that's like Newburgh. Newburgh does not run. They run a Army offense, wing T. But they're down there just slinging it.
They're slinging it pretty good too. We played in years past. We played Newburgh and done well against them.
Right.
They had a pretty good offense. They had a lot of athletes, a lot of speed. And it could be you take what you can out of it. If you have a good quarterback on offense, you get something out of it. For me, defensively, we run a lot of young guys, and it was just the thing where we struggled the most was making plays on the ball. So I do think that translates to real football.
Yeah,
playing the ball in the air. And you can only gain so much out of it, but I think ball skills, that's a huge issue.
Right. At that tournament or whatever it was, it started off, every game was competitive, and then the longer the losing streak went, the worse. So that's the thing about football is it's streaky in that way. When you're high, and then confidence. So if we roll in Saturday, and you get a win, what's that do for your confidence as a team going forward?
It boosts everything. Going into the next week, practices be more energized, everyone's feeling better. Carries that throughout the entire season, hopefully. Right,
you can build on. That's a step you can build on.
Big springboard to the season. Yes, very important game on Saturday.
Especially because you match last year's win total just right out of the gate.
Sure.
And you say, hey, listen, all the noise is out. This is new year, new us.
Why not us?
So, anything else you want to tell your mom? Anything? She's she's watching out here.
Not really.
No, you don't got nothing else to say. Nothing your teams. Anything you want the fans or the families to know, Nick, that you want?
Hey, I appreciate all the support. Kids that are playing Mod A, no cuts. I know last year they had to make a few cuts. That's not going to be an issue going forward. No cuts this year. We want as many kids playing football that want to play football as possible. We really appreciate the support. The Booster Club's been great. You mentioned the Seuss's, they've been great. The school administration, new athletic director Lee Molyneux, he's been great. Very supportive. Just come out and support these guys. They've been working hard. We're hoping to see it translate on the field, and I think it should.
Yeah, Saturday, 1 o'clock kickoff?
1 o'clock start.
1 o'clock start. The Booster Club, for the most part, it will be in the back of the school doing a tailgate, getting ready to go. But yeah, I'm excited for a new season. I'm glad you brought a player in. This is the new thing. This format this year is going to be a coach and a player.
Cool.
So I was like, wait a minute. I got to get a Saugerties coach and a player to kick it off. And then, we got Lords lined up, Anior, Kingston. So it's good to get, some eyes to the prize, Yeah. So I hope you guys have a great season. I can't wait to see everybody out there Saturday, 1 o'clock, Saugerties at home versus Marlboro. Let's go Sawyers. Let's have a good season. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thank you for having us.